Thanks to the Quest Creator Program, I've had the Meta Quest 3S for the last 2 weeks. After spending close to 40 hours with it, I've got 5 highs and 5 lows for the 3S. This includes a major deal breaker for me and why I will not be using this headset as my daily driver moving forward. I'm live with Mike, let's talk about it. So just like my 1-year review for the Meta Quest 3, we're going to go back and forth. I'll give you a thumbs up for one thing, a thumbs down for another, and I've got 5 of each, so try to keep it a little bit balanced. Thumbs up, big thumbs up to the price. You cannot beat $300 as an entry point for VR. I myself bought a Quest 2 on a whim because it was $300, and that's why this YouTube channel exists, my Twitch channel exists, and why I'm now a community manager for VR developer. All that started because that headset cost $300. Frankly, everyone has their price point where they're willing to take a flyer on a new piece of tech that they're not sure they're gonna like, but $300 seems to be the sweet spot for the Quest headsets, and it's nice that they're gonna have these models moving forward. Now there's a nice 3-tier system in the Quest program. Hopefully there's gonna be a 4th one if they do another Quest Pro, but you got the 300 model for the people who are saying like, I'm not sure if I want to do this, but $300, I'll take a shot on it, I'll just refund it later if I don't want it. $400 for people who want more storage, and for the enthusiasts like me who want the best standalone experience possible, you got the $500 model, which is now the 512GB Quest 3. And yeah, I'm a little bit salty that I spent $650 for the same model a year ago, but I'm an early adopter. That's kind of the price you pay for that. You can't beat $300 for a headset though. It's the best value in the game. Big thumbs up. Thumbs down, and this goes for every Quest headset that is not the Pro, to the strap. If you're watching the video of this, look at this. Look at the size of my head. You think this glorified rubber band is going to keep this as a comfortable fit for me? Now this is a personal thing for me. Not everyone's rocking a bowling ball on the top of their neck, but for me specifically, because my head is so large, I don't really like a whole lot of pressure squeezing on it, and that's what this strap does if you want to get a nice comfortable fit. So if you do buy this headset, I beg you, I implore you, please get a replacement strap. Give something from Zyber, Bobo, Kiwi, Anapro, whoever. Just get something to replace this. It's going to make a world of difference to your experience. Thumbs up to the action button. This is my favorite thing on this headset. If you don't know, at the very bottom of the headset, right next to the volume switch, I'm trying to make sure this lined up correctly, there is a button that will trigger pass-through mode. I had to turn off the double tap on the side of the head 2 times on the Quest 2 because I kept having to adjust the Quest 2 to get the proper fit and make sure I was staying in the sweet spot. And almost every time that I did that, that sensitivity on the double tap to go to pass through was turned up so high that I triggered it, I'd say probably half the time I adjusted the headset. I just turned that option back on for my Quest 3 because I found that I don't have to adjust that headset as often. Thank you, Pancake lenses. But the action button is something that I love, and it doesn't have to be tied to like pass through. Right now, the action button is just used to be able to go back and forth between pass through and VR, but you can add additional functionality to that. For instance, if you like double tap it, for instance, maybe it pulls up your Meta AI so you can do a voice command to it. Or if you tap it 3 times, something else happens. I use AirPods because I'm an Apple guy, and that's something that I love about my AirPods, where I can like double tap something to skip a song or triple tap to go back a song, so on and so forth. Being able to add utility to the headset without having to use the controllers is an excellent piece. I love that button. I hope it's on every headset. Thumbs down to the lack of an audio jack. So you can see, because I'm using the strap from a Quest 3, that there's a hole for an audio jack, but it was removed from the final model on the Quest 3S. Meaning that if you want to use headphones for this headset, you're either using Bluetooth headphones, which depending on the quality of the headphones you're using can introduce latency, or you have to use a set of USB-C headphones, or just use an adapter to use a 35mm audio jack and just convert it over. But that means if you're plugged in with headphones, then you cannot deliver power to your headset to keep it charged, unless you have a USB-C splitter to be able to plug in power into one end and accessory like headphones into the other one, but that becomes more added cost. I'm guessing they cut it out to get the price down to $300, which again is a massive win for this headset. But as someone who uses headphones all the time when I'm in VR because I love the noise cancellation, it really helps with immersion, this was a bit of a letdown for me. Thumbs up to backwards compatibility for the Quest 2, specifically when it comes to prescription lenses. If you're someone who wears glasses and you use prescription lens inserts on your Quest 2, one of the biggest questions before Quest 3 came out was whether or not those were going to work on the Quest 3 optical stack, and that answer was no, you had to buy new lenses. Well, for the 3S, if you have lenses already for your Quest 2, these will fit over them because they're using the same lenses. Having said that, thumbs down to the arm sizes. So the arm sizes on the 3S are the same as the Quest 3. I would imagine that most people who are buying the 3S are going to be upgrading from a Quest 2, and unlike the prescription lenses, which are going to carry over, your strap will not, because the arms on the 3S are the same length as the 3, which means that your existing battery strap coming from your Quest 2 is not going to work. So that's another added cost if, like me, you can't stand the elastic strap. I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but if you're hoping to carry over your stuff from the 2 to the 3S, that's not going to be the case for the strap. Thumbs up for the Fresnel lenses, and before you just absolutely blast me in the comments, just hear me out, because believe me, I have the downside of Fresnel lenses in a minute. But one of the big advantages Fresnel lenses have over pancake lenses is the brightness. Pancake lenses do not let through nearly as much light from the LCD panel as Fresnel lenses do. One of the things I noticed immediately when I put the 3S on was how much brighter everything was. And I was like, maybe this is kind of a misnomer, maybe I have the brightness turned all the way down or up, I'm not sure. So I put my Quest 3 back on and said, no, this is way darker. I put the Pico 4 on, the exact same thing, it looked darker than what was in the 3S. Then I put on the Quest 2, I put on the DPVR E4, both of which have Fresnel lenses, and yeah, the same thing happened. I guess because I've been using the Pico 4 and the Quest 3 pretty much exclusively since I got both of those headsets, I just gotten used to how much darker they were with the pancake lenses. But when I put the 3S on, I was like, whoa, I actually had to turn the brightness down to about 75. And the same thing happened when I used the DPVR E4 for the review of that headset. I just noticed how much brighter everything was. The Fresnel lenses actually help with that. Having said that, thumbs down to the Fresnel lenses because of the small sweet spot. And this is part 1 of my deal breaker. Part 2 is coming in a minute. I have a very large IPD. It is 71.4. And I did not realize when I switched to the Quest 3 how much less I was adjusting the position of it to try to keep the headset in the sweet spot. The edge-to-edge clarity of the pancake lenses meant that no matter how the headset was seated, I pretty much had a clear picture almost at all times once I got the IPD dialed in. When I was playtesting this headset, I noticed almost immediately how often I had to pause the game, stop, and readjust the headset to keep it in the sweet spot so I had the clearest picture. This happened over and over again, especially if I was doing something physical like a melee combat game where my head was moving a whole lot to like dodge attacks. That kind of hampered the experience of the game I was trying to review for it, so I actually had to stop and like remove my mind from that and say, you know what, I can't punish this game for the fact that this headset has a small sweet spot, because it was actually hurting my experience and my enjoyment of the game I was playing. Now I realize that I'm an outlier. The average IPD is 63, and that's right in smack in the middle of the range this headset is rated for. But for outliers like me, you have a very small one or a very large one, this headset may be a bit of a problem for you. Thumbs up to the IR emitters on the 3S. This is something that I hope becomes standard for every Quest headset moving forward. I have 3 very large panel lights lighting me right now. I have one directly in front of me and 2 off to the side that light my green screen that's behind me. And even with that, I get low light warnings in Quest 3 all the time. There'll be this little pop-up that says your tracking may not function well in low light. I'm not sure the technical reason for this. It's not something I experienced on the Quest 2 or my time with the Quest Pro, but for the Quest 3 I get it probably like half the time I put the headset on. I haven't got that pop-up one time with the 3S. My guess is that the IR emitters that are in the 3S are helping to produce better tracking, and to test this, I turned all the lights off in my room, so the only thing that was lit were my 3 monitors, and I still never got the pop-up. Then I turned all the lights off in my room, and I still never got the pop-up, and tracking was still functioning. That's not something that happens on the 3. The second I turn the lights off in my room, the 3's tracking gets a little bit wonky. And then my last thumbs down, and this is part 2 of my deal breaker as to why I can't use this headset, are the 3 IPD settings. So this one carries over the 3 track settings from the Quest 2. Those settings are 58mm, 63mm, and 68mm, which means that this headset really only covers a range of just up to 70mm because it has Fresnel lenses and the sweet spot is so much smaller. This meant that no matter how I positioned this headset, even though I could get it into the sweet spot, no matter what I did, I was getting a blurrier picture than what's in the Quest 3. Now again, I'm an outlier for this. I have a very large IPD. It is bigger than your average humans. So for me, no matter how I position the 3S, it was always going to be a blurrier picture. It wasn't as sharp and as crisp as what is in the 3, because the 3 with its pancake lenses, even though the IP range is roughly the same in terms of where you can set the IPD at, because the pancake lenses have such edge-to-edge clarity, my picture was always sharp because it works for my IPD. It can go all the way up to pretty much 75 from what I understand. So if you have a large IPD like I do, this is really something you need to consider. So generally, yes, I would recommend this for people who are looking to upgrade from a Quest 2, but they don't want to spend the extra cost for the main Quest 3. Especially if you're someone who plays standalone titles, because we're going to start getting Quest 3 exclusives very soon. Well, we already have one in Hitman 3 Reloaded. Yeah, let me rephrase that. We're going to start getting good Quest 3 exclusives here pretty soon, like Batman Arkham Shadow. And if you're on the Quest 2, you're going to be missing out. So if you're looking to upgrade from your Quest 2, I will recommend this. Unless you have a large IPD like I do, then you might want to consider spending the extra to get the main Quest 3. It will make a world of difference. But for me, the 3S is going to be something I use for like demos with friends and family. This is something I do pretty often. I really love showing off VR to people. It's the easiest way to sell VR. But my main daily driver is going to remain the Quest 3 because the picture is just so much sharper. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.